Is a Rimworld rant. Alrighty, let's get started. This is going to be a somewhat strange one. Let's just say that. Alright, so our colony is as such. Not too much has changed from yesterday. Um, Actually, I don't think anything has really. Uh, we got some more mining done. I can't think of anything else that was going on. Oh, I did get my cool little power supply here. This is a Va- Vanomatic power cell. Basically, it pumps out 1,000 watts forever, constantly, which is awesome. I don't have to do anything for that. It just does it, which is really cool. Um, oh, that's right. I'm currently under. That's right. I'm currently being lambasted by a turn off all your electricity thing. That is one thing that's happening. Let's see. What do we got? Wants to make a trade. Yeah. Friends in danger. Uh, that's still active for 10 more days. Meh. Wait, hold on. I thought. So, this one. What does he want? 78 torque of normal quality? Yeah, I tried doing that. It's not gonna happen. 78 of them? No. Nope, not that this happened now. So, anyway, today's uh, talk, we'll call it a talk, uh, is going to be about words and their meanings. So, people seem to be under the impression that words have different meanings than what they actually mean. What I mean by that is they like to go around and change the meaning of every word they can. And I just don't understand it. At least on their end. I know what they're doing, and I have some theories as to why. Hold on a second. Something has happened. I loaded the wrong thing. Alright. Yeah, something about that didn't seem right. So, as far as the colony goes, I think it should have been farther along than that. Getting some of the mundane stuff where they just sit around for this no electricity thing. There we go. That's the correct one because I have the Death Strand. Devil Strand, sorry, the Devil Strand. And we have some, how much time do we have left on it now? I have 11 days left, and yeah, there is, from what I can tell, no feasible way of getting 78 of those done. Yeah, we're going to cancel that quest. Alright. And cancel the processes making those quests. I have 16 out of 75. Alright. Yeah, this thing is awesome, by the way. Um, but like I was saying, people like to pretend like the words in the world don't mean what they actually mean. And it's extremely frustrating to those of us who grew up knowing what words meant and watching individuals literally change the meaning. We're going to start with the big one today. Nazis. Now, Nazis are what people like to call people of conservative values, or, just conservative thinking in general. When in all actuality, all those lovely left-wingers, the the communists and the socialists and the social justice warriors, they're actually more akin to Nazis than us. And I mean that in the most literal sense. The word Nazi, or should I say, abbreviation Nazi, is actually referring to something called the National Socialist. So every socialist out there is more closely akin to a Nazi by a long shot than those who would rather have, than those who would like to have the free market and things of that nature. So every time, if you're ever out, and it has, it happens to most of us, if you're in a conservative area, it happens. It's not pleasant. But if you are called a Nazi, just look at them in the face and go, well, what does that mean? What does Nazi mean? Feign ignorance. Do it. And you'll have fun with it. I promise you. Don't let the words that they have chosen to try to brand you with, or me with, or anybody else with, mean what they actually mean, or what they think they mean. Because it's time we go back to words meaning what they actually mean. Because if we don't, that's how we lose everything. That's how we will lose this, what is tantamount to a war on the English language. And then they make up words. They make up a lot of words to try to confuse everyone. They try to confuse us by changing or making new words that we think mean one thing, but actually, that they make them in a specific way to subvert those of us who think differently about, things like that. And it doesn't mean that you can't use slang for things. Slang has a very important role in every culture. It lets us identify specifically the way we want to. And what I mean by that is like, yo, bro, things like that. If you want to identify in that way, that is your prerogative, and by all means, you're right. But it does not mean that bro means brother. And that's just another example of it. Bro doesn't mean brother. Bro is an endearment, or a term of endearment used to somebody you are close with. Usually specifically a guy. Not always. So that word, if you don't know what that means, I mean, it's been around for a long time. It's not a new one. But there are many others out there, some I'm sure I'm not even privy to because, well, I don't listen to them. I don't pay attention to them in general because most of everything that comes out of their mouth is both irritating and moronic, I guess is the best word for it. They they can't seem to figure themselves out, but yet they want to. I never. You go ahead and have your alcohol binge, lady. So one thing I'd like to get across as well is if you have children of the ages, 18 to 25, go ahead and make sure that you let them know. Let them make sure that they understand what words mean. Hold people accountable for the things they do. And the things they say. It doesn't mean you have to, you know, go out of your way to make them feel bad. I'm not saying people to go out there and make them go out there just to make them feel stupid. However, if they engage you or they try to insult you, feel free to do it. Because at that point, they've brought it on themselves. My face is dirty. What is going on? Raccoon's revenge. Okay, well, he's being currently eaten by a squig. Anyway. There's absolutely no reason why on a day-to-day basis people go around using words in ways that they don't know what it means. In all honesty, communism itself, the word communist, doesn't mean the thing that it used to mean. And people want it to mean like, oh, well, if you're a communist, you are of the idea that all people are created equal and all this. And if you look through the annals of time and history, that is not communism. That is an entirely different bag of worms. I don't know what world that's from, but it's not communism. Communism has long been the most oppressive and evil of countries. And I'm not saying this from a propaganda standpoint or anything of that nature. I'm talking about from strictly the idea that when you take away people's freedoms to choose and to do things, you take away people's ability to live, their ability to understand and move forward in their day-to-day lives. You will slowly but surely, with communism or anything else of that nature, will slowly but surely erode what you are trying to do. Or what I'm trying to do, or what most decent human beings want for other parts of the world. You know? They like to go around and, at this point, I think even oppression, the word oppression has been changed as far as what its meaning is. Because people say it as if it's one thing, but I get the impression that they don't really know what oppression means. Oppression is making sure that a particular group of individuals is marginalized and made to feel lesser than those around you, specifically in their ability to create money, work, denying them entirely the ability to work in certain fields or areas, things of that nature. That's not the case in the United States. That's what they want you to think, but that is not the case. We don't do that in the United States. Now, it doesn't mean that it's 100% equal across the board, but it's also not, you're not being oppressed. What is happening is, for the most part, where are you at? like I don't get what people have been trying to, or what people think oppression is anymore. It doesn't make any sense to me. Where's Brenner? You can be that. You're not gonna grow. You're not gonna plant. Smith, Taylor, Craft. You are just going to clean, good sir. All right. Now, so now I will go on to say that this occurrence is not always bad. Take the N-word. What was once a word that, now it still has negative connotation to it. However, for the most part, the word has been taken from being a negative word to being a word that is used for good. It doesn't mean that the English language, or well, maybe not for good, but for, has a better connotation to it. It can be an uplifting word now if used in the right circumstances and things like that, which is perfectly fine. That is a good circumstance of a word's meaning changing. But taking a word that distinctly is talking about a particular evil subset of group, what I'm referring to is, again, Nazis or communists or anything like that, and trying to change what it means, that's an act of evil in and of itself, because that's creating ignorance for people who come after. The goal of that is not to change, because it's not going to change the minds of those of us who know what the word means, who actually know what it means, us older adults. But if they constantly pound that into your kid's head over and over and over again via YouTube, TV, all, news, everything you watch, they give the impression to your children that that word means something else. And eventually, when I'm gone, and those of us who came, shortly after me and things like that, once we're all gone, a generation from now, those words will mean. They will be in the dictionary, meaning the thing that they originally wanted to mean, or what the new people wanted it to mean. And that is a scary thought. And if you cannot see that is going to be a issue, then you're not getting the point of the problem. And in all honesty, you need to sit down and evaluate things, because you're not thinking, because that is terrifying, utterly and completely terrifying. For my son to think that, Nazis means, me, that's a scary thought. I'm not a Nazi, because one, I don't really truly hate any particular group of anybody. I don't find it necessary to hate people that much. And I know also, because I'm an intelligent individual, that no matter what color, creed, race, religion, or anything like that, that's a group, and the individuals inside the group do not wholly dictate the entire group of people. There are some people who, in the case of religion at least, who I don't know if they feel obliged or obligated or what, but they proceed with the notion that, well, this is how it's always been, and I don't want to make trouble. These are pacifists, and they sit in the churches and they allow, certain actions to carry on. Like, pick one. It doesn't really matter to me. But they allow that. And it's not solely a religious thing either. It's in cultures. Let's take specifically a African American culture thing. Now, it's not as a culture, there's a large amount of their dads. Does that make sense? Absentee fathers. Dads who don't want to take the responsibility of that. And by this being a thing, it's not me saying, oh, that's it, bar none, all black people are this way. No, because I'm an intelligent individual. That there is a group. This is a group, and there is a number of individuals in there who act this way, and it shouldn't be this way. You know, it doesn't mean everybody should be, white picket fence, the nuclear family. No, we've long passed that. We've long realized that in each individual, you know, life doesn't always work out the way we want. Some of us really want the other way, and some of us just like we think we do at a time, and then we don't. And that's fine. If you don't end up being that way, if you don't end up being the, nuclear, quote unquote, nuclear family, then that's fine. But be there for your kids. Go out of your way to be there for your children, Go to the birthday parties. Go, and I understand that some people have to work, weird hours and things like that, and it doesn't always work out. But as long as you are supporting your family, and they may not, understand it right now. Ooh, I can get rid of a plague bears. Jesus. Get my plasteel. Oh, hurry up. Hold on. Who's closer? Who is right here? Sorry about that. Get his carcass on the damn shuttle. Leave. All right. Yeah, those colonists were terrible the entire time. Frustrating. But that just means that we need to shift perspectives, shift our perceived responsibilities. Yeah, look at all that. Mm, mm, mm. Another big screen TV. Mm. Mm. All right. Oh, where did that thing go? Once we start understanding that, we have these responsibilities in our lives and things of that nature, we will see a turnaround in general for the whole of the United States. And for all of the, not just the United States, everywhere. This is not actually a strictly U.S. problem. It is more so here. It is by a large percentage for some reason. There are many people out there who have, theories on that. I'm not going to go into all those. They're, frankly, for the most part, they're pretty ridiculous. But sorry. Um, why is there a chair in the... Anyway. But yeah, so we have these cultural things that seem to occur. And they are not at all fair to those who don't fit the stereotype. You know? That is not an okay thing. For, every good, you know, dad that is African American to be out there and then people just thinking he's not. That is terrible. Just because he has this stigma about it. Because it is not a strictly black thing that this is occurring to, by the way. There are many, many, many white deadbeat dads. Had one myself. It sucks. You know? Didn't really know my dad throughout my entire life. And I don't get why not, like people who had that, who've experienced that. Because I know I'm not the only one. That is not a just Isaac thing. That is a long history of that. Probably more so originally in the white community than in the black. As strange as that sounds. Because there's a long-standing history of that in the white community too. So don't think that, if you're black and you're listening to this, don't think that it is a racially motivated thing, because it is not. There are many douchebag white dads too. I have personally, since I experienced that, I personally went out of my way to make sure my son never experienced that. Because I couldn't imagine inflicting that same, mind, well, for the, I trying to use a non-expletive word here, um, mind tricks, mind, uh, I can't think of a non-expletive word for that. So, but yeah, so just to mess with my kid's head that badly, I would feel terrible having experienced it myself. And you, so what I don't get is, and I'm not trying to be mean or anything like that. How come people who have experienced that over and over again, more so, as more recently, should I say, why are they allowing it to happen again? Why are they being that way in their lives? Where's the disconnect in your personal brain? It's not about, oh, well, I didn't have good role. No, no. You have your own mind. You are your own individual. When you went and made that decision, you're like, oh, well, forget it. It doesn't matter. My dad was like this and I grew up just fine. Or whatever it is that you've done in your brain to make you think that that was okay, you're wrong. And you need to change. If there are any deadbeat dads who are listening to this, you should go home, call them up, and beg. Absolutely beg for forgiveness. And then hope that they actually can forgive you for what you have done. Because you don't deserve it. But you'd be surprised how much those kids really, really want You have no idea how much they want you to love them and how much they want to be able to love you. There's zero understanding of how much a child wants that if you are a deadbeat dad. I got off topic there. I think I might have to change the name of this. Well, back to changing the meaning of words. I don't want to go into too many of these specific examples of this. Like, that's not the goal of this. It's more or less to specifically go through or just to go through and say, hey, stop trying to change words. It doesn't do anybody any good, except for the people trying to undermine the American way of life. So if there's anybody out there who thinks they are a social justice warrior, and by the way, stop giving us words to make fun of you with if you are a social justice warrior. Because when you said, we are social justice warriors, guess what? You've now given us something to make fun of you for. Because that sounds like something a 9-year-old comes up with while sitting in the treehouse. You're stupid. Don't give us that fuel. If you really want to, keep it up because it's fun. I love having the ability to make fun of people who have no minds of their own. And I will go on to another positive word change. Gay. The word gay. That is absolutely that used to be a extremely derogatory word. Now it's just a word. It can be used in a negative connotation, but for the most part, it's not what it used to be. And to all the gay, lesbian, list off the acronyms, because I don't know them all, and nor will I ever. Sorry, not going to happen. I'm not going to let you make up words. Sorry, doesn't work. Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. But, yeah, good job. That is awesome that you guys took and turned that around. That's the kind of word changing we would like and that we need. We don't need the changing the meaning of the word to turn what was already a terrible word into something you can use for a political gain. That's not okay. That stops. That needs to stop. Yeah. It is truly 100% terrible. That people have gone out of their way. And an eclipse, okay. To try to create this new and fun and interesting ability to... Oh, sorry. Now, those of you who create words because you can't seem to find your place in life, I do understand what you're getting at, to a degree. It's hard to find your place in the world sometimes. And it's not pleasant. And I know you want to find your exact phrase. And that's fine. It is okay to feel like that. And those of you who know you closely, and those of you you know in a direct fashion, they should, out of respect for you as an individual, call you those names. The whatever the the thing is that you want to be called. And that is fine and that is great. But for the love of God, do not walk into a grocery store or a convenience store or anywhere else and expect the dude behind the counter to know that you are a non-binary pansexual. Because he's not going to know. And in all honesty, he's probably not going to give two flying shits if you're a non-binary pansexual with an Oedipus complex. He doesn't know, nor does he care. He's there to ring you up and send you on your way. And if he calls you a dude or something of that nature to be, in all honesty, he's just trying to be nice, leave him alone. He doesn't care. Nor is he doing it out of a malicious context. The changing the they, their, them, that stuff, no. I'm going to call you him, her. Sorry. That's just how it is. It's not an insult. It's I don't care. And I'm not going to go through and learn and try to relearn the ability to speak. Because that is not a natural thing to say. Now, years down the line, it's fine if that is the norm. But stop getting pissed. Stop talking about it. Because, I mean, do what you can the way you will. But don't get angry at the person behind the counter. Don't yell at people on the internet about it. Because, in all honesty, you just look like an idiot. And I'm not trying to be mean. But that's what it looks like. You just look stupid sitting there going, well, you know, word vomit. You know, like, nobody cares. I'm sorry, but we don't. And the whole, you know, sex is not, you know, gender and sex and, you know, like, if you want to be a dude and you're a girl, then be a dude. It doesn't matter if your paperwork says you're a girl still. First of all, nobody reads your paperwork except for your doctor where it's pertinent. And that's only because there are physiological differences between man and woman. And what I mean is by hormone levels. If your paperwork, if you walk in and you look like, you know, Al Pacino, but your paperwork says her, well, he knows you're doing something. That you have gone through many transitions. You know, you can be great, strong, and beautiful, and proud, and all that. That's great. Good on you. But he needs to know that. Because if he doesn't know that, and he gives you drug B for the issue you are having, and it's like, oh, wait, if they are taking estrogen or, you know, like testosterone supplements, don't give them that. Because it'll kill them. And then you die. That's not a good thing. You've died. That's bad. Sorry. It doesn't get good after that. That's the end of it. Regardless of where you think you might go or what might happen after the fact. It's just bad. So stop trying to reinvent the wheel in this department. And just accept that sometimes there are little bits and pieces of the world that we have to work with and not against. And sometimes it's not done in a malicious fashion. It's done because, one, it makes sense. Stop trying to undo things that make sense. For the love of God. We need those things. Jackson, are you not on? Yeah, you're cooking. You can cook. Dragon cannot cook. Did you shred them all? But yeah, so it's time to take our heads out of our asses, collective asses, mind you, and realize that. All right, what is this one? Cat joins. Sure, cat. You can come on down. You can come live in the barracks for a little bit. And I'll make you a room. But anyway, remember that if you pick up the dictionary, as long as it was, wasn't created like in the last 3 years, you can find out what words truly mean by reading. And that does not mean Google it. Because if you go to Wikipedia or some nonsense like that, it's not going to tell you the actual meaning of the words. Because you can go on there and you can manipulate it as a individual amongst the world. So don't use Wikipedia as your basis for the meaning of words. In fact, Wikipedia has done the most harm to words because it allows them to do that. And everybody knows that Wikipedia is way up there on the search list. So if you look up, what does this mean? Usually Wikipedia is the first thing that pops up. So go home, go on to Amazon or wherever and order a damn dictionary. Then look up the words that way. Or go to the dictionary.com and it'll give you the actual meanings of words. And remember, and everybody remember this above all else, Nazis were socialists that didn't like communists. And the communists were just Nazis who didn't like the other Nazis. Communism has done more harm and has bred more hatred and inequality than any other governmental faction ever. If you want a true perspective, go on to a forum of people who lived on the other side of the wall during the 80s and ask them why people chose to try to run across an open field covered by machine guns rather than continue to live in a communist-run state. Because then you just might, figure out why we don't want communism here. Because communism is bad.